And there are more homeless people than ever on the streets of Portland. But tonight there's one man who's no longer one of them. Hear his story and find out who gave him a helping hand.
Well, homeless advocates say most nights there are more than 1,000 people sleeping on the streets of Portland.
Tonight we are meeting one man who used to be one of them. As KPTV's Kevin Kouari shows us, he turned his life around after a local couple gave him something he desperately needed: hope.
I would sleep right here. This was my spot.
Robert Bouder remembers this patch of grass next to the Hawthorne Bridge well.
This little 10 square foot of land was mine. I'd roll out my sleeping bag and had my backpack with me, and this was home.
For much of his life, Bouder struggled to stay afloat. But he says last year he hit an all-time low.
I had a roof over my head, and I had a few bucks in the bank, and once I got laid off my job, it just went so quick and found myself out here.
The economy took a dive. He lost his job and was left wandering the streets of Portland. Bouder says he was sober, but with no phone, no address, and no one to turn to, his life spiraled.
Wondering what I was going to have to do that day to survive, and chances are I was going to be back in the same situation later that evening.
But one morning when Bouder was about to head back out onto the streets, he says fate found him.
And I remember getting up from my desk, getting ready to leave, and I just looked out there and I said to my wife, I said, honey, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go down and talk to those guys.
Ron Sloy, a financial planner, just happens to have an office directly above the spot where Robert Bouder and several other homeless men were sleeping. Sloy offered each one of them a chance to turn their lives around. Robert Bouder took him up on the offer.
He was very articulate. He seemed like he wanted to better himself.
Sloy and his wife got Bouder a cell phone, an apartment, bought him this suit, and helped Bouder put together a resume. Bouder says he couldn't help but be suspicious.
It was weeks before I could figure out that they actually had no angle, So I was thinking, what do these people want? Why are they doing this? And they were just doing it out of the kindness of their heart.
Weeks later, Bouder had a full-time job.
They just, picked me up and cleaned me up and said, there's the path, walk it. If he hadn't come down, I don't know. I mean, who knows?
The Sloys had no guarantee Bouder would head in the right direction, but they say that's a risk they're willing to take.
Everybody needs a chance. Everybody just needs to find that, just a helping hand. And so that's all we did.
Kevin Kouari, the 10 o'clock news.
What an incredible story. Robert Bouder made enough to travel to California to see his father. The two hadn't met in more than 10 years.